Good day. Welcome to Live Well with Aromatherapist Jerby Go. So for today's episode, we will be having another certified aromatherapist. He is currently based in China. He's no other than David Wilson. David is an aromatherapist, a massage therapist, and a restorative yoga teacher based in China. In 2013, he undertook the Neal's Yard Diploma in Essential Oils and Clinical Sciences at the Neal's Yard School, based in Covent Garden, London. After graduating, he worked at a wellness clinic close to where he was living on the Isle of Wight in the UK. His treatments covered aromatherapy massage, deep tissue and sports massage, specialist massage for cancer treatments with selective clients and restorative yoga classes at the clinic. After relocating to China in 2019, he has since been doing aromatherapy and yoga workshops, combining aromatherapy and yoga teacher in one unique practice in Shanghai for various schools and yoga studios. He has also had the opportunity to create some olfactory art installations for art exhibitions in Shanghai, using his essential oil and aromatherapy knowledge to create immersive aroma installations. Everybody, please welcome David Wilson.
Hi, Jerby. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's great to speak with you again.
How have you been?
Yeah, I've been pretty good. It's hot here where I am in China. It's probably the same as what it is for you across the waters in Manila. But no, it's good. It's good. We still have COVID kind of to deal with here at the moment. So we're in kind of lockdown still. We kind of confined to our apartments and compounds, so we really can't do too much. But it's not like the Shanghai lockdown that I went through where you really had to stay inside, you couldn't do anything. Here it's we can go outside, but everything's closed. And there's no restaurants open, no gyms open, no movie theaters, nothing. So it's like, there's no real point going out kind of thing. And public transport's not working. So yeah, it's good to go for a walk every so often, but it's okay. I've got plenty of things to keep myself busy with inside anyway. So, I just get on with it. It's okay though.
Oh, wow. But you know what? One of the questions I have always had with you is, how did you end up in China?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I came here because of a few reasons. One was my now wife, who is from this part of the world. And also at the time, it was a kind of a combination. It was like, oh, come with me, but what am I going to do over here? And then it was like I was going to go to the Shanghai University of Traditional Chinese Medicine and do some studies in TCM, in Chinese medicine, which really interests me as well. So, and being an aromatherapist, that it's herbal medicine, aromatherapy, it all kind of, and the philosophy of Chinese medicine really interested me as well. So I thought, yeah, great, and learn some acupuncture and some Twainer massage techniques. So that really excited me. So I had planned to do all that. But literally, I arrived here as soon as COVID broke out in 2019. Literally, it was like a few days and lockdown kind of thing. So the university has been closed ever since. I mean, I think it's been open for Chinese students, but for foreign students, the foreign courses, it stopped running. So I've never had the opportunity to do that in-person course at the university since. So my dream of studying that has kind of been put on hold for a little bit until this situation improves, kind of thing. So that's what brought me here. And it was also, I think, another thing, apart from being with my wife and studying new things, I was really after a new adventure in my life, and to be in this part of the world. From the UK, where I was living for almost 20 years, I wanted to come over and be closer to Australia, where I'm from, and explore a bit of this part of the world.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you're an Australian.
No, I haven't lived in Australia since 2000. So quite a long time since I've actually lived there. I've been living in the UK ever since 2000 up until 2019. So I'm probably in a working life kind of thing. I'm more familiar with dealings of London and the UK than what I am of Australia, so to speak. But yeah, I did go back before I came to China in 2019. I came back, spent some time in Australia for about 3 months before bouncing back up here.
Wow, you are quite a traveler, David. So when did you start dabbling into aromatherapy? And like, did you had a career prior to your aromatherapist life?
Yes, I did. I was working in the film industry in Australia, and then that's why I moved to London to work more in film. London is like big media, film, television epicenter, that in Los Angeles. And because I had dual citizenship, it was easy for me to go and live in England. And I've got family there still. So I went to London to work in the film industry, and I worked there for many years. And during that time in 20, what was it? 20. I suppose I'll double back a little bit. How I first got interested in aromatherapy, I suppose, was there was a friend of mine who I worked with in the film industry. I got sick it was about 2011, I think it was, for a little bit, and had an operation. And my friend Neal sent me a diffuser, an aromatherapy diffuser, and some oils. And he was telling me you should burn while I was in bed, and just put them in the diffuser. And it was the first time I've ever really played with essential oils. And I really enjoyed it, really liked them, really liked the smell of them. And I've always had an interest in aromas and smells and perfumes as well. My mum was really good at, buying me lots of different, like, skincare, even back in the day, like Clinique for men and Shiseido and different things. But not that that's an aroma kind of thing. But with the essential oils, it was Neal that sent me that. And so I started getting into it, more interested in it while I was convalescing it at home. I've still got the bottle, actually, that he gave me. It was a bottle of Ravensara, which I've still got. So I just out of keepsake. So from then I used to do a bit of massage on just friends. I just had this thing of just, doing a little bit. And a friend of mine bought me an introductory class to aromatherapy massage at Neal's Yard School in London, as it was a Christmas gift. Said, "Oh, you're really good. You should have some training here. Go to a day class." And this was in 2013 then. And I was a bit like, nah, I don't want to, do this, but I'll go along. It'll be fun. So I went along for the day. It was on a Sunday. I remember it was in the middle of winter. It was really cold. So I went to Neal's Yard, and I really enjoyed it. I really, really loved it. And with a lot of these things, I was the only guy in the class, so to speak. It was about, 12 girls, and I was the only guy, kind of thing, maybe, just doing this day class kind of thing. So it was really unnerving kind of thing, like, pairing up with strangers and having to massage them. It was like being the only guy. I was really, really nervous. It's like, "Oh, are you okay?" So I don't think I massaged very well, because my nerves got really the better of me, I think, at the time. But when I was doing the massage, I remember that the course coordinator, Elaine, who teaches in the diploma course at Neal's Yard, said to me, "You're really good at this, David. You're really natural at doing this." And I was like, "Oh, really?" Oh, so I just tweaked an idea in my head, and I thought about it, and I got some encouragement at the time. So I thought, yeah, and I did want to change my life at the time as well. I did want to change and do another a career, move on to a different part of my life from the film industry. The film world was great, but it's a lot of hard work, a lot of like 24/7 you're on call kind of thing, where it was all consuming kind of thing. Not that I didn't mind it, but I was getting older, and I kind of wanted to do something that was more, calming and spiritual and a bit different. So I thought about it a lot and looked into it, and went and had an interview at Neal's Yard to do the diploma course. And yeah, I got the offer and I decided to do it. And that was started in October 2013 back then. So yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. I've never met anyone who's from the film industry and then went to aromatherapy. I've met a lot of other aromatherapists who are nurses. It's kind of like linked, more linked together, right? And then there are some who are from the corporate world, like myself, and then went into aromatherapy. And then you, wow, from film, that's really amazing. That is why you're very into arts and stuff.
Yeah, I've always had an interest in visual arts, and I'm being dyslexic. I think that helps that I'm very visual with everything, with film, and I've got a strong visual sense more because I don't read very well. I like reading, but I just can't read very well. So I forced myself more into a visual way of learning. So maybe that's where it kind of stems from. But the film, yeah, it was quite funny when I did my aromatherapy course. You're right, there was a lot of people that were on the course who were nurses, who come from even other backgrounds like herbalism, reflexologists, other massage therapists, that kind of thing. There's quite a few, and a few corporate people. Yeah, there was quite a few corporate people as well, but no one from the film or media world at that time.
That's why you're a gem. It's very interesting. I wanted also for you to share, like, how were you able to mend together aromatherapy and your visual arts side of things? Because I think that's very interesting. It was Robin who first told me about that, about you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm really not a very good meditator in myself. I don't meditate very well because my brain I just keep having the monkey mind talking a lot to myself. Not bad thought, just thinking, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Do this. Keep thinking.
Me too. I'm so hyper. I always tell people, I feel like I have ADHD. I'm just so many ideas in our mind, right?
Yeah.
It's too much chatter.
Exactly. So exactly. So I found with drawing and painting and doing something where I have to focus my attention onto something and really slow down, I can get into a bit more of a meditative. I know that sounds a bit pretentious maybe, but it's that kind of, I have to concentrate on what I'm doing. Like I'm doing a line, I have to really focus on doing that line correctly. And rather than just, I can do that as well, but for me, I want to slow down. So I purposely do a lot of art practices that make me slow. And I find that really good. It kind of really just switches me off, and it's a meditative practice for me. So that's where I really like it. So and I've always enjoyed the arts, as I said just before. So it was kind of, I blended into that now, doing it quite a lot, and working being in especially in the lockdowns that we've had in China with COVID. It's been a great way just for me to spend my time rather than looking at computer screens all the time.
You know what? I totally agree with you. Because, like, for me, I feel that my mind is always racing. I have so many thoughts here and there. And that is also the reason why I always engage myself in different hobbies. So, like, even my parents, my mom finds it so hard to catch up or keep up with what I'm currently into. Like, over the pandemic, I have amassed different hobbies. I'm not a swimmer, but I forced myself how to learn to dive. And then
Wow.
I don't really hike, but then, I told you 2 weeks ago, I tried hiking. And then at the start of the pandemic in 2019, I also decided I wanted to be a jewelry maker. So I enrolled myself in a lot of jewelry making classes as well. So yeah, I agree with you. Like, I have so many thoughts that I just need activities that I would put my 100% focus to slow me down. I love what you said about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's finding that one thing that you like. No, it doesn't have to be one thing. It can be a few things. You don't necessarily have to. You might move on now yourself and do sculpture, clay, pottery, that's meant to be really good. I'd
I
love
want
to
to
do
try
that.
that.
It's a bit more, you need, I have to go somewhere to do that, have all the clay but I'd love to just sit there and try and mold something, that have that focus. So I agree with what you mean. It's a good way to shift your energies into something that you enjoy doing and it slows you down at the same time. So yeah, we're very similar in that respect, that's for sure.
So are you good at making like clay sculptures?
I haven't done a lot of sculpture, but I do want to actually. I really, really want to. That'll be the next phase
Oh,
of what I do. But I'd love to. I'd love to do some clay work. Yeah, I'd love to, and ceramics and pottery and that kind of thing. Yeah.
you know what? I feel that I'm not that good with like what you do, drawing and visual arts and maybe sculpting. I feel that I'm not really good at that. I wish I were. But there's this new technology in jewelry making wherein you start with a clay material and then you sinter it and it turns into silver. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
No, no, I haven't. I haven't heard of that.
Oh.
No,
I went to
no.
Korea in 2018 or 19 to learn about that. So yeah. So just in
Oh,
case you're like good in sculpting, you can definitely learn jewelry making.
okay. Okay. Well, you'll have to send me the details on that afterwards. I'd love to look into that.
Yeah.
But Jeremy, I think with the thing that is with what you're saying, that you don't think you're very good at it. I used to think, how do I say it? I think it's as long as you enjoy doing it, that who cares what if you think you're good at it or not. And I think that's the thing. If you enjoy doing something, even though you might think that you're rubbish at it, who cares? Because then you'll enjoy it. It doesn't matter, I think, anyway. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
don't.
agree with
Does
you.
that make sense? It's kind of like, as long as I enjoy the process, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm not, I know I'm not selling my art. I don't want to sell. I'm just doing it for myself, purely for my, own expression, really. So who, if I can't draw figuratively perfectly, it doesn't matter.
But
I'm not
I've
going.
seen your work. They're really nice. They have this New York vibe, New York art vibe.
Oh, that's really sweet of you. Just, but yeah, it's just it's the process that's the interesting thing for me. That's what I.
Yeah, you know what, David? It's okay. I like there are things I know I'm not good at, but I do it anyways because I love it. Like, diving is not
Yeah.
really my forte. I've drowned so many times, but I don't care. I would still dive.
Yeah, no,
Alright.
exactly. As long as you enjoy it, exactly, Joe. That's it. Yep.
All right, let's go back to you because I wanted to know like your story in aromatherapy. So now we've covered your past, how you got into aromatherapy. I wanted to get to know what you're doing now in China. I saw that you also have these involvements with yoga studios there.
Yes. Yeah. During my again, I'll digress a little bit and go back. During my time when I was working as an aromatherapist and massage therapist in England, I would always, a lot of clients would come and see me, and I would recommend them to do certain things, if they had back pain, for example, try and do some exercise. You always kind of offer other solutions or referrals. I would refer a lot of people to different people I'd networked with, like personal trainers, if they wanted to really get fit and get back into exercise. I'd say, here's my friend Michael, he's a personal trainer, go visit him, he's really good. Or a nutritionist. I had a friend that I'll go, and we would all refer people to one another, have a little network, which was really good. But a lot of the time I suggest, because I used to practice yoga and I still do myself, just for a personal, a personal thing. I've always enjoyed it as a practice, and I was always referring people to, particularly with yoga, to other people. And I thought, I could do this myself. Why don't I get training as well? So I did. I studied and got training in restorative yoga, which is specific for slowing down, relaxation, and resting the body, healing the body. So it's a real gentle practice using a lot of props and supports. So it's not an energetic yoga. It's designed, it's practice just to heal mainly. So I studied that. So anyway, jumping forward to China, when I came to China, I was able to get in touch with a lot of yoga studios and put on a lot of workshops combining aromatherapy and yoga in one practice, so to speak. Because I found that the community here in yoga and aromatherapy is very, very, they're intertwined quite a lot. A lot of Chinese yoga teachers also supplement their income by, I should use the term selling essential oils. They're not aromatherapists as such, but they sell a lot of essential oils. So yoga studios here have a lot of essential oils in them. Either being diffused or used in class. So I kind of jumped on that opportunity, so to speak, and offered a lot of different workshops in what I call aroma yoga, so to speak, offering how to use essential oils in your yoga practice before, during, and after. So, yeah, I was doing a lot of workshops around Shanghai before the pandemic kind of shut everything down again. But
Wow, David, is there a chance that I can invite you to do some of those workshops here in the Philippines?
I'd love to. Yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I'd love that. Yeah, I've only stopped doing them now because literally, in Shanghai still they haven't reopened. They've been shut now for a very long time. A lot of yoga studios and gyms, they're still closed, which is quite sad actually. The gym I used to go to, it's closed down fully now because they can't afford to stay open, which is really sad. So it's not a good situation at the moment for that community, sadly. But anyway, I'd love to, definitely love to come over and visit you. You're not far away either, so.
Yeah, I think so too. Because here, I know some yoga teachers who, like what you've said, they also I think sell some essential oils, but they're not really aromatherapists. So I think it's very interesting, like to have an aromatherapist and a yoga teacher in one. That would be amazing.
If you think about the practice, again, it's yoga. It can be very strong and athletic and, a physical practice as well. But I focus on the more slowing practice.
Is it vinyasa?
So, yeah. It's a vinyasa. Well, I don't do a flow vinyasa class, but it's more like an Iyengar style of yoga. We use a lot of props, bolsters and pillows and to support the body. So it's good for if you're recovering from injury. So that's how it kind of fed into massage therapy and aromatherapy and just rehabilitation and rest. Because being an aromatherapist, a lot of the time people want to relax, isn't it, with the oils and slow down and calm themselves. So it kind of fed into that. But I found, and another reason I wanted to also do a lot of the workshops was, again, going back to what you were saying, is that there's a lot of yoga teachers that are talking about essential oils, but there's a lot of bad habits as well being talked about in the community with essential oils in the yoga community. For example, one of them was a practice of putting essential oils into your water and drinking it while you're practicing yoga. So I was kind of saying, no, don't do that. Don't drink your essential oils while you're practicing yoga, and trying to, without sounding pretentious, but re-educate a lot of people into how to use essential oils properly, because there were a lot that I came across that were using them totally incorrectly.
Wow. Is it those practices that you've observed, are those specific to China, or you've also seen this back in the UK?
I haven't seen it in the UK. I've only discovered it here. But I have investigated and I have seen it being used in other countries as well. On some videos on YouTube I've discovered particularly from the USA. I don't want to cast aspersions, but it's one or two particular multi-level marketing company that that sell essential oils that have been teaching this practice
Mm.
within the yoga community, and it's not really, it's a bit dangerous in that respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I also wanted to understand, David, like how is the aromatherapy market or the landscape there in China? Are there many famous essential oil brands there? Or is MLM the one that's really pushing the information to the market?
There is the essential oil community here is huge in China. It's huge. A lot of there are some international brands that do sell in here, but there's not as many as what I thought. The reason for that being, now I'm not sure what the latest legislation is here, but a lot of the essential oils that came into China had to be tested on animals. So because of that, companies like Neal's Yard, who are against animal testing, didn't sell in China, but they were able to find what we call a back door into getting into the market here, so to speak. They were able to sell online rather than have a retail presence. So there's those that's why you see there's no Body Shop here, there's no Lush shop, there's any company that doesn't have animal testing doesn't have a presence here, which is, but I've heard that that's been changed and been lifted, that policy here.
Mm.
So you have other essential oil companies that are quite big here. It's Florihana, the French Finnish company. They're really quite popular here. You see them around quite a bit. But in general, there's a lot of local products. A lot of what the essential oil industry work with, the Chinese distributors will buy bulk and repackage it for the local market here. So it's usually on around now. It was the Shanghai Aromatherapy Expo, but it's been cancelled this year, and that was huge. I've been every year that I've been here. It's great. There's so many essential oil companies selling different products and different oils, and it was a great way just to go around and meet people and test oils and find out. But that's how they would work. They would buy bulk and repackage it under their own brand here.
Mm. Are there companies there who like distill plants native to China?
That was one thing that I was really interested in, was finding indigenous and local Chinese essential oils, similar to what you do, Derby, with local Philippine products. I wanted to know what was being grown and made here locally, and there's a few, not as many as I thought, to be honest with you. But there's a couple in the region of Yunnan, which is out west near the Thai border, near Thailand. There's a few really good local producers there that make their own essential oils that are using indigenous and local thing, not just ginger, not just things like lemongrass, but also they'll have different herbs that I've never heard of that they will distill and use. And some really interesting ones like Szechuan pepper as well. Szechuan pepper oil is used in hot pot.
Yeah.
So it's like having a hot pot smell. It's fantastic. I love it. It's like really spicy, really awakening. Yeah. Really, it's really good. Like for uplifting you and getting you awake. That's so that they are here, but not as many as what I thought. Actually, the European aspect still has a lot of pull here, like oils from Europe, French lavenders, English lavenders, that kind of, aspect to the industry here. But hydrosols are getting really popular here now as well. It's a very popular market now, hydrosols. So that's quite big. But there are some local oils around that are really good, I must say.
Well, I'm very interested, like maybe to experience that someday. I've only been to China once, 4 years ago, maybe or more. It was to visit my sister because she was studying there for a year. Do you speak good Mandarin, David?
Okay, whereabouts was she studying?
I think in Xiamen. Xiamen
Okay.
University. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you speak good Mandarin?
No, I don't speak. I speak,
Oh,
but not really good. No, no. It's a I think it's a lifelong study as a
yeah.
language.
How do you survive living there? Because when I was in China, I was had hard so much of a hard time. I said I'm not gonna come back here. It's so hard. It's so hard to communicate to people.
I can understand more than I can speak, if that makes sense. So I can easily go around by myself and
Oh,
the basic stuff like where is this, how much is that, and I know the
yeah,
numbers. The number
yeah.
when I'm buying something, I know the price, that kind of thing. So I don't have problems like that. It's in a more probably business aspect that is more difficult, but yeah, in aromatherapy as well. Excuse me, a lot of the schools have English taught in them as well, and they're taught by a lot of English teachers. So
Oh,
there is that as well. And even during my yoga, when I was doing my yoga workshops, yoga and aromatherapy, Christina, my wife, would be my translator in
yeah.
class. But I would say something, and she would translate all my PowerPoint presentations for me as well. But even 50% of the class or more still spoke English. In
Wow.
Shanghai anyway.
Yes, in
That's
Shanghai. Mhm.
where I live now is just out of Shanghai, and the English spoken is a lot less. So I think it's the big cities like Shanghai, Beijing,
Yeah.
Guangzhou, and that Shenzhen would speak more English than the smaller cities. But I get
Right.
around. I get around.
Oh, yeah, because that's my other question. Like, how are you able to communicate? Because when I was in China, I had such a hard time. I was so dependent on my sister. I have four sisters. All of three of them are better in Mandarin than me. Um, Here in the Philippines, the Filipino Chinese, it's customary for us, like after we graduate, either from high school or college, we're sent by our parents to China to study, China or Taiwan, to study Mandarin. So when it
Okay.
was my turn, when my dad asked me, "Oh, so where do you want to study? China or Taiwan?" I told him, "Please send me to Belgium." And he's like, "No, you go and work." And then I worked. It was simple. So my
Oh wow.
sisters all went to China or Taiwan to study. I didn't.
So did you go to Belgium?
Oh no, he told me to better work.
Better work.
Find a work
Okay.
here in the Philippines, and I did.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. That's still
Yeah,
cool though. That's awesome. It's a
yeah.
good
My
story.
my dad is always ashamed of my Chinese speaking skills, my Chinese communication skills. It's so bad.
No, no. It is it's a very hard
Yeah,
language.
it is.
It's challenging, especially dialects as well. Because where I am in Wuxi, which is only 40 minutes from Shanghai now, so it's still very close, but the dialect has changed completely. So even my wife says, "Don't listen to what my dad says," and I go, "Why?" Because he's not speaking Mandarin. I go, "What's he speaking?" He's speaking Wuxinese, which is a dialect. So that's why I said, "I can't understand your dad what he's saying at all. I don't know." Because he's not speaking Mandarin. And so there's all that's quite a problem that if you go to a lot of different places, they speak their local dialect. Very similar to in Europe, it happens as well. Like I know Sicilian dialect is a lot different to Northern Italian
Yeah,
dialect.
same in the
So
Philippines. Like there's so many dialects here. So yeah, there. Well, at least you have your wife with you. That's
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah. But I can get around. I'm not scared of that. I can get around. And if I get stuck into a situation, there's always on Google the Translate app on the phone.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
And there's WeChat has one as well. Has a Translate app. So
Oh wow. Amazing. Oh, so where do you see yourself now? Like with all of these restrictions, you mentioned that everything is still closed up there. At least here in Manila, some of the businesses have started to open. I think they limit. like depending on the industry. For example, the gym and wellness industry are cut into 50%, so they cannot take in as much customers, but they're operating. I think the schools are also at 50%. Malls are, I think, at 75%. So how do you see yourself being there if everything is closed?
Yeah, we are actually planning on moving back to Australia in October. The reason for that is that, you know, I haven't been home to Australia in what would be 3 years since that, because even travel within China has been extremely difficult. It's not easy just to get around because, for example, at the moment, because I'm in a hot zone, so to speak, with COVID, if I travel anywhere, even if I want to go to, say, down south to Shenzhen, but Shenzhen's not a good example because they've got COVID at the moment. If I wanted to go to another area, I most likely, depending on the requirements, have to quarantine. So if you want to go away for a weekend, you've got to spend 14 days quarantining. It's like, oh, you can't go anywhere, which has made it a little bit difficult, you know. And I think we worked it out. Over the last 3 years, we've had 9 holidays cancelled because of COVID. You know, we were planning to go somewhere, COVID broke out, or we're in the area and COVID's broken out here. So it's really a bit stressful to plan anything. Like, I wanted to go to Nanjing next month, which is only an hour away by the train, but they've got COVID at the moment. So it's like, oh, I can't go there now. So it's really difficult. So let alone international travel, you know, that's another difficulty as well. But Australia's had really strict quarantine, as you may have heard, for over the past 2 years particularly, but they've lifted a lot of their restrictions now for getting into the country. So we decided we'll go back to Australia for a longer period rather than just a holiday, just to kind of see what happens with the zero COVID policy here as well. And as weird as it sounds, my wife, for her work, she's meant to travel around Southeast Asia and Asia for business, but she can't. So it's actually going to be easier for her to travel from Australia than it is from China to travel around, to go to Singapore, to go to Malaysia, to go to, you know, Korea, to go to all these places. It'll be easier for her living in Australia to do her work than it is here, if that makes some weird kind of sense.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to start again, hopefully doing some more workshops in Australia and some more yoga and aromatherapy practice as well. So it's a shame, but yeah, the situation here, we'll see what happens next year with, you know, if they lift their zero COVID policy or not. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I understand, because I see like your posts. Every time you'd have to line up and take a test. Do you do those tests every day or every week?
Every day.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's
I've
really
lost count
stressful.
of how many tests I've had. It's probably in the hundreds now. It's 100 something. It's, yeah.
Wow. How about vaccinations? How's the situation there? Do you guys are you imposed to have vaccinations?
No, there's no. This is a very strange thing, and this
Yeah.
is true. I'm not spreading any rumors here. Like I had to go to the hospital here just before the lockdown, it was about 3 weeks ago, and only because I am B12 anemic, so I need regular B12 injections, which is fine. It's no big deal. I just go get jabbed and that's it. It's easy. But I went to the hospital and we thought, while we're there, let's find out about getting vaccinated, because we're not vaccinated. And we asked in the hospital, where do we get vaccinated? No, we can't do it in the hospital. Really? Oh, okay. So we asked the nurse, where can we get? Don't know. We asked the doctor, don't know. We don't know where to get the vaccine here. It's really strange. No one is even talking about it or promoting it, or there was no signs in the hospitals. And that was the weird thing. Like, it wasn't even discussed. So even to this day, it's like, we don't know. I do want to get a vaccine just for when we travel, you know, going to the airports and airlines and traveling. And although Australia doesn't require it now, it's something I just thought that we'd better get done. But no, the vaccine's not really even mentioned here now. So
Yeah, that's strange because you know what? The first few months of supply of the vaccines that arrived in Manila are all from China. It was all from
I,
China.
I actually had a theory that they've given so many away to the rest of the world. Like I know they've given away a lot to Africa as well, Philippines, Indonesia, I think as well, maybe, and a lot of countries that have run out of their own supply. That's just my theory. Don't listen to me, everyone. I've got no
Yeah.
data to prove that. I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
spreading.
just us rationalizing things because you haven't
Yeah,
gotten anything. That's really strange.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So I'll let you know when I do find out if I can get it or not.
Because like for me, I had to look for I had to make sure I get vaccinated because I have plans on traveling. I mentioned to you that I was taking up jewelry making courses in Seoul in 2019, right before the lockdown happened. I was actually there January till March, I think, or late Feb. And I went back to Manila because I needed to get more clothes. It was winter there. I didn't bring enough clothes. So I never got the chance to come back. Half of my clothes are still there. I haven't had the chance to go back and take it home here. It's still there. And yeah, so it was my priority to get vaccinated because I was thinking it might be required for traveling. So I was just worried, like, how about you? Is it not required to go to Australia? No?
Not now. No, it
Lucky.
was, but they've just lifted their requirements. So, and
Mm,
a lot of countries are lifting their different travel requirements. Some still require it, but others don't. Australia's lifted theirs now. So, but then again, it can change as well.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
with all these things, it could be a requirement next month. You know, depending on the
Yeah.
situation there. So it's very it's very interesting here, though. But one thing I have made sure I've done is use my essential oils quite a lot with my when I go out. When I put my mask on, I always use essential oils in my mask. I usually put a drop or two of like tea tree or any bay laurel was another good one that I use. This morning I had some pine that I put a drop or two of pine, Pinus sylvestris in my mask, and other, I've made sprays for the masks as well. So I'll
Mhm.
always use my essential oils when I go out, around with my
Yeah.
mask. That's for sure.
That's my next question, David. Like, as an aromatherapist, how are you able to use your knowledge in protecting yourself or at least supporting your immunity and wellness there in China?
Yeah, that's one that I started pretty early on. Was putting essential oil, either only one or two drops in the mask, and I put it on. Or I made a few spray. I was playing around with some different spray blends and spraying the mask as well, to see what worked best, and just if it wasn't too intoxicating, and how it reacted. I do that all the time. I've done that for like 3 years now, of wearing a mask, just constantly spraying and using it. But yeah, I use essential oils every day in different ways, either for skincare. Like I know we spoke about last time, I really love using essential oils in skincare, oils, balms, all sorts of different ways on my face, and on clothing as well. I'll make a spray, a protective spray. And this time of year, I'll use like a citronella type of spray just to keep the mosquitoes away as well. Not like what you make, but I just put a few drops of citronella mixed in with some, glycerine or witch hazel, and then sprayed around. Nothing too straight, but it works because it is that time of the year.
Yeah. Wow, that's so cool. What is your, like, if there's one essential oil that you can recommend to people? Because I know most people are still worried about COVID here, especially the new wave. I'm not sure if it's the same for China, but right now there's a new surge that's been happening for the past 3 weeks. And people are always curious and they are always asking me, what's an essential oil that would help protect me or at least support me during this time? What would you recommend?
I would recommend There's a few different ones, but one I seem to just go to all the time is tea tree. Just because it is kind of a really all-round, really good like polycrest oil. It can be used for a lot of different things. So if you had to get one that you could put in your bathroom cupboard that could do a lot of different things, I think that one is really good. Not only for it's good for the respiratory, it's good for any skin problems. It's very antiseptic. So what I end up doing, I'm not sure if it's like this in the Philippines, but here, you put your hand sanitizers wherever you go in shops. So I found that those, alcohol sprays or alcohol gel would really dry my hands out,
Yeah.
especially getting into a department store, getting into a shop, getting into a restaurant. If I did go out, I'd probably be putting those kind of lotions on up to 6-7 times a day on my hands. So I'd even just have, when I used to get home, I'd make up just some, with a base cream, some essential, put some tea tree in just a little bit as well, and mix that up and moisturize my hands afterwards, because it's also, tea tree is very antiseptic. But that's probably my main one that I keep around, just because I'm Australian and we love tea tree.
Yeah.
So maybe, but of course eucalyptus is a really good one. Bay laurel is really good as well. I love bay. I find
that's my favorite.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's fantastic. I love bay. So there are people would say, what about lavender? Lavender's awesome if you like lavender. I'm not a huge lavender fan.
Me too.
I like it, but don't love it. So it's up to you. If you love lavender more than tea tree, have lavender. But I just prefer tea tree. It's kind of my go-to all round. If I've got a pimple, I'll put some on, because man, wearing those masks every day. I'm not sure about you, Jeremy, but we have to. There's you walk outside, it's 40 degrees today. Wearing a mask, you sweat, and I get a lot of pimples. Like my skin reacts to just can't breathing, especially if I'm out for a while. I'll always get a pimple around here, even at my age. So yeah, tea tree dab, tea tree dab, tea tree dab. Always using the tea tree. So yeah, that's my go-to. But bay laurel is fantastic, Jerby. I love bay laurel. So
yeah, I've only discovered bay laurel, I think, over the past year. Yeah, because of the pandemic, because people were asking what can we use, and I would, like, before I would say oregano, but I think oregano can be too harsh, so I kind of gravitated towards bay laurel.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's one of my favorites. Just for I find it really good for concentration and alertness as well.
Yeah.
I'll just sit on a tissue and just smell it, just because it's beautiful smell, and also it's kind of awakens my focus on something. Yeah.
But David, I also have another question. Like here in the Philippines, those, I'm not sure if you've seen it there in China, but people have been using those essential or aroma sticks, essential oil sticks that looks like a cigarette or a vaping. I'm really not sure if it's a cigarette or a vaping thing. I would like to pick your brain about it. Do you think those things are safe, or are there like safety precautions that needs to be addressed?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. They're kind of like, I saw them years ago back in the UK when I was living there. I forget, there's a few brands now. I forget the name of them, but they were like an e-cigarette, but it was with essential oils.
Yeah.
Yeah. No nicotine, so it wasn't used as a nicotine replacement therapy like a lot of, in England, people they were using them to e-cigarettes to get off cigarettes. So down the packet of cigarettes and pick up an e-cigarette kind of alternative. But these essential oil ones, I haven't seen in China at all. I haven't seen here, but I do know of them. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I think inhaling essential oils is fine through, a diffuser, through just on tissues,
Yeah.
inhalation through smelling it just off your skin, in the bath, or even the old-fashioned way of, I've done this, filling up a hot water, a bucket, and a few drops of eucalyptus and putting a cover, like and steaming, more like a spatial steam as well. I think that's okay as long as you limit the amount. But the thing with these vape sticks is that it's going straight into your lungs, like directly.
Yeah.
And often we don't know what they're mixed with as well. Like, what is the essential oils that they're using, and are they real essential oils or are they synthetic? What are they mixed with? It's often a lot of other stuff that it gets mixed with. Now, I wouldn't endorse anything like that myself. As a way to take essential oils, I wouldn't promote that as a healthy way without a lot more testing being done in the medical community on them. I haven't looked at a lot of vaping data lately, but I do hear some not very good reports on the fact that they can still damage your lungs a lot still. But again, I haven't looked at a lot of the recent data on vaping, but I would suggest no, don't do it. That's just my opinion, but I remember when the IFPA kind of said that as well, that they didn't endorse a lot of those products because there hasn't been a lot of testing done lately on them, so we don't know the long-term effects. And
Yeah, and I think for me, one of my concerns is if it's an e-cigarette and there's like fire or combustion involved.
Yeah.
So that would definitely affect the fumes, or I don't know, the VOCs that you will be inhaling straight to your lungs. And I don't think that's really healthy. Again, that's
Yeah.
also my opinion. But I was just, thinking about it. Is it really healthy? I don't think it's healthy.
No. It is actually quite easy to make the vaping liquid yourself. I know how to do that. But because you are heating up the oils and the ingredients, as you said, and I'm not sure how hot they actually get, but if they get to a point where they're combustible, you are inhaling carcinogens. So I don't think there's any medicinal properties left when you heat them up that high, the essential oils. That's just my opinion. It's like when you cook alcohol, when you have it boiling, it boils off all the alcohol anyway. So you may have, you may not have any benefits from any of the oils at that kind of thing. But no, I don't like taking them that way.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your bit about that, because I have a few students who are asking the Philippines in general, like whatever that's trending in the United States, it's almost usually carried over here. So
Okay.
yeah, so if it's like really big in the US, a few months later it's gonna be big here. And so, people have been asking, have you seen this brand? Have you heard of this brand? And I don't really smoke cigarettes, so I wouldn't really know. That's why I'm asking you. So I'm very
No,
happy
no,
that
no,
you mentioned that.
absolutely, Jerby. No, I again in China that I don't see them at all, and I haven't
Mm.
seen them marketed or promoted or even talked about. I'm sure they are here in some way, but it's not like it was when I was in the UK. Like even on Instagram, I remember seeing companies that would promote those e-cigarettes with,
Mm.
frankincense and
Yeah,
things like that.
cedarwood or lavender
Yeah,
to make you fall asleep. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I still wouldn't endorse or think that that's a very good way to take them because again, you don't know the quality of the oils. Going back to what's in them, what is actually in these things. You know, what
I
what what
agree.
what are the quality of the essential oils? Unless you're making it yourself. But even then, I still wouldn't endorse it. So it's something I would just tell people to avoid. If you are using them to get off cigarettes, well, that's another kind of thing altogether. If you find it helpful and it does get you off cigarettes. But then again, that's a different field again, isn't it? That's more like the nicotine replacement therapy. So as aromatherapist, no. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, same here. Thank you so much for answering that. David, is there anything that you would like to share with our audience before we end this podcast episode?
No, I just wanted to say thank you, Joby, for having me on today's show. It's been great chatting with you again. There's so much we can talk about, but I suppose there is one thing I will mention to you, because it kind of filters in. It's something I haven't talked about a lot, so I've kept quiet. And there's a few people that know this, but a few years, why we're drawn to certain practices, why we do aromatherapy and why we do massage and why we might do these things. It was a few years ago. I'll cut a long story down short, but I went on a bit of a journey of self-discovery, and I've always known that I was adopted, and I went to find out more about my biological family, so to speak. And anyway, long story, I found out that my grandfather, he was a massage therapist and a herbalist.
Oh.
So I found out that, it's kind of, am I interested in this because it's in my genes or not? Or because I didn't know that was his job. He was a massage therapist, and not aromatherapist, but a herbalist. So he did herbal medicines and massage therapy, and he was Japanese as well. So
Oh.
So yeah, I have 25% Japanese in me. So not that you can tell fully by looking at me, but yeah. Anyway, that's something that I thought. So what I'm trying to say is that if a lot of people, if you think, follow your heart, because there's more in what you want to do. That's what I was saying before. Even if you don't think you're good at it, there's a reason you're doing it. That's what I'm trying to say, that maybe you don't know yourself. Something that's pushing you to do something.
Wow, thank you so much, David. That's really nice and inspiring. And that's really amazing that you were able to you got into aromatherapy because of that journey of self-discovery. That's really wonderful.
Yeah, but maybe there was something there all along that was pushing me down that path. So yeah. So same with you, Joby. Don't give up your jewelry making. Don't give it up. There could be a reason there. There could be, you may find out that your great grandfather was a jewelry maker, or great grandmother, or someone. You never know.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? I really love. I do collect like all of these gemstones right now, because I can't. I haven't really enrolled myself into other levels of jewelry making classes. I only support the local smiths. So aside from supporting local farmers for aromatherapy, I also seek Filipino smiths, and I try to order from them to support them, because we need to keep the economy going. So that's what I do.
Yeah. Is there a big local community in jewelry making?
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I was also surprised. There are a lot of talented smiths here. There's an area, right outside Metro Manila. It's called Bulacan, and there are a lot of smiths there. I was so surprised. I I discovered that area because I went there to buy some jewelry making supplies because I was learning, right? And then and that's like in one street alone, you see a lot of signs saying metalsmith. So I got curious. Whoa, there's a Smith Haven here, and I started getting to know some of them. Some of them I've met through Instagram, through social media. I've been scrolling also a lot of these jewelry making accounts, and I found them. So wow, it's really cool. I mean, social media is really amazing because of it. We're speaking right now, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Do you think you'll get back to Korea to redo your?
I'd have to, because my things are still there. I'd have to go back one way or the other. I still half of my clothes are there, honestly, so I haven't really gotten it back. Luckily, our friend was there to help me like pack it up at least and keep it for me. Yeah, but I have to go back. I'm still enrolled in the 6 month course there to do jewelry making.
Oh, well, hopefully you can get back and pick up your things, but also continue the class.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to have you here in Manila to have your class, like one of your workshops here
Oh,
someday.
no, thank you. Yeah. I have got some videos of my workshops on my Instagram that you can have a look at.
Mm.
That people have talked, and I posted an image of how I what I teach and what I talk about and how to use the essential oils in a yoga practice and also with a bit of massage as well, in like basic kind of hand massage or a leg massage or that kind of thing. So,
Yeah,
but I really look forward to one day coming to Manila and seeing you. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure your wife will be happy visiting the Philippines. We have a lot of beautiful beaches here if you are into beaches and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's yeah. I being Australian, of course. Yeah, we love our beach. So I've always wanted to travel to the Philippines, especially from here. That was one of the goals I set because your beaches there are amazing around, especially for diving. Not that
Hmm.
I do diving, but I thought it's of all places, it's one
You can
place I would.
try.
Yeah, yeah. I really, really want to go. Not just saying that. That's why I moved. One of the reasons I said I moved because I could, travel quite easy. Well, could have traveled quite easy, but
Oh, you
yeah,
should make a stop over here before going to Australia.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a good plan. A good plan. Thanks, Joe. I might look at that.
Yeah, and if you do, I'll take you around.
Sure. Oh, that'd be fantastic. I love that. Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, David, for sitting again with me and having this conversation. I really enjoyed our episode with you.
Oh, yeah. No,
Um,
me too. Me too. Thanks so much, Joby, for having me.
and yeah, we all look forward to see you, hopefully, in Manila one day.
Hopefully, at least next year or later this year. We'll see. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Definitely, though. Definitely.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Joby. Bye bye.
Okay, so I guess that's all for today. If you have any other ideas or questions or topics that you'd want me to cover in my future podcast episodes, don't forget to shoot me an email at couchwasabi@outlook.com. And I hope to see you on my next Live Well with Aromatherapist Jerby Go.